Cynthia was on line 1. Cynthia, when you want to, call us back, 404-892-2703. Until you do call back, it's time to focus in on Brian Beane's Personal Growth and Economic Empowerment Seminar. Now, this is not mentoring necessarily for young people. This is grown folk
business.
And what should one expect to receive? Who is this for exactly?
This is actually for anyone who wants to improve personally, professionally, and financially. In other words, you can be over the age of 18 and enjoy this information, but what we focus primarily on is my favorite saying, which is, if you can't go within, then you better learn to go without.
If you can't go within,
then learn to go without.
Then learn to go without, because those outward things come from within.
Absolutely, absolutely. So everything you see before your eyes is a manifestation of what you think, how you feel, and what you do on a daily basis. So what we do is we spend 3 days. We're going to show you basically how to transform your thoughts, which will in turn transform your things. And we're going to take the old saying, be, do, have, to a different level. If you notice, it's be, do, then have. You can't have, then try to become, then do. You can't do to have, so you can be like. You got to be something first, do things second, and then you will have the results of the things that you become and do.
I love it. Brian Beane, y'all. Brian Beane. A couple of questions, seriously, regarding this thing. We've got the first, be, do, and then you will have. Give insight as to one who eventually wants to have something, how they begin the process of acquisition by being. How, excuse my English, but how do I be?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to become. And become. Like, in other words, how do I be? That's great. But it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to excel financially, right, then you have to have abundant thoughts. You don't have to go out here. I'm not talking about chasing money, believe it or not. I'm talking about abundance. That means you are well-rounded spiritually, socially, emotionally, physically, financially. The problem with most people is that they try to become all of that at the same time. So when you say, how do I be, here's the reality. And a lot of people don't want to hear this, but this is just the way I grew up, and it's worked for me and thousands of people who follow me. The reality is this: you may be a little unbalanced for quite some time, but it's okay, because life, when you look at your life, you got to look at your entire body of work. So what people try to do, they want to work out 5 nights a week, go to church 8 days a week, eat all the right foods, have plenty of money in their bank account, have a great social life, be all well-rounded, but they try to do it all at the same time.
You can't do that. That's Sidney Wood style. Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Don't bite off more than you can chew. Now, you can get there.
Let me ask you this. How do you assess where the first place to start might be? Let's say one's house is totally disarrayed. Right. You don't clean the whole house. You start in a particular room.
Exactly.
In the house of life, Brian Beane, what room should one start with?
Great question. Well, that's the problem. Too many of us are using the word one. See, it depends on who you are. In other words, Sydney, I chose at an early age. Okay, people say, Brian, how'd you retire at 22? I'm 37 now. How in the world did you retire so young? It's because from the age of 19 to 22, all I focused on was my finances.
Interesting.
So that's where I excelled.
That's the room you cleaned up first.
That's the room I cleaned up first.
And look at the house today. That's the room. That's the main room.
So, but I have other friends who focused, and so people say, well, Brian, you didn't have a lot of fun in college. No, I didn't. I didn't. My college years, if I had to do again, I would replace 93 to 97. But guess what? I'm having a ball
right now.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
now,
sir.
A lot of my friends had a ball in college, but they broke today. You see what I'm saying? Right. So it depends on what makes you happy. If you want to be physically fit, be physically fit, but do everything in moderation, so that when you become physically fit, now work on your spirituality. You know, when you become sound spiritually, now go out and help in the community. Now, when you get the community to get help in the community, you might need to start focusing on your finances. So now, when you look at your entire body of work, you have something you can stand back and be proud of and say, you know what, I was pretty well rounded. What people try to do is they try to pigeonhole you into like time is not a continuum. You know, they try to look at where you are right now. Brian, you unbalanced. I said, yeah, I'm unbalanced now because I've been unbalanced for a long time financially. So I'm gonna switch my balance to that for a minute so I can get balanced right physically and all that later.
Sure.
So you can always get balance. It depends on what you're focusing on at this time.
Sounds like wholeness.
Exactly.
Nothing missing, nothing broken, spiritually, physically, mentally, financially, socially, all of these different areas, because if any is incomplete, then the whole is incomplete. And it sounds like prosperity is more than just money.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you think about it, let's just look at the reality of this. Okay. In a capitalistic society, the reason you hear me talk about that one the most, this is capitalism, Sydney. We live in America, okay? And the reality of it is, if you don't focus on your finances at some point, somebody else will focus on them for you, okay? So my mentor always taught me, look, your money is going to make someone rich. It just depends on who is going to be. You're either making the government rich by overpaying your taxes. You're either making the banks rich by getting in a lot of debt and paying for things 3 and 4 and 5 times that are depreciating. Or you can make your unborn grandchildren rich with things that you're doing today. So your money is going to make somebody rich. It's just a matter of who it's going to be.
Hey, you do financial management as well?
In turn, I do financial education. We teach you financial management.
Teach a man to fish.
Yeah. So the reason I'm joking around, people say, you know, I say I'll take your last dime, but you laughing, I'll turn it into $1. It's because if we empower everybody, man, honestly, and we joking around having a good time in the studio, but if your friends had more awareness and knew what the 4 things were that keep you broke, then we could all help more people. So I'm just about getting money out of the way.
Get it done, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Marcus Coleman, you hanging out with us, man. You get this, man?
Man, you know,
that's your friend of a long time.
Man.
You've seen him grow.
20+ years, man. So I'm very proud to see what he's done, man.
We have to talk about that testimony too, because sometimes we see people at the final stage that it becomes unachievable. Well, I could never, you know, get to where Brian is. But when you have somebody who's seen the growth and development, it gives authenticity and context to it. It inspires others to do the same. We'll have Marcus Coleman chime in on that when we come back. His knowledge of Brian Beane.
I'm nervous.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
The truth is coming.
We'll take your calls too. Last segment of the show.